Talk about the extremes that you went to and the what you put into the game and being an example of that.
So, I'll use Tyler Matzik as the best example of extreme because he went further than most people would even imagine. Tyler Matzik plays for the Braves, just signed a 2-year deal, won the World Series. Um, they called him Nutsack because in the World Series he went out there and just dominated. It looked like he had the slowest heartbeat ever and ice in his veins. And this is a guy 3 years prior had the yips. And one of my buddies that was a SEAL also had the yips, Jason Kuhn. You should look him up. Sunlaw Solutions, yipsfree.com. Absolutely outstanding human being. I get to be a part of that journey with him on the baseball side and kind of that battery mate side because he was a pitcher, a SEAL, and I was a catcher. We just kind of hit it off a long time ago. So I started training with them just here and there for fun. And then I asked, hey, I'd love for you to try to break me, see what it's all about, and found out that I broke not by the physical, but when they actually brought out a buddy of mine and just dominated him on the hill, up and down. Dude's throwing up, not feeling good. And I could not finish the task at hand to make it stop. I was so focused on him hurting, I couldn't focus on my task. And I realized that was my biggest kicker. That's what I needed to figure out. I had to maybe, some people said be more selfish. I didn't like that term, but I had to be somebody I wasn't to figure out how to be the best version of myself. So we brought in Tyler. He came in and he was all in. You have to be all in. You have to buy into these things to really want to do it. And he came out and we just destroyed him for about 4 days. We did everything we could to try to disrupt his rhythm, his timing, his mindset, his breathing, whatever have you. I mean, we had bullhorns. We had him shoot through his old jerseys, old writings and articles on targets. We did a lot of different things to just disrupt everything. And everything he did, everything went wrong. Nothing was going right. And that's the whole purpose because so often we train for everything to be right. Oh, we have to hit before we work out. We have to throw before we work out. We're never tired. We want to optimally recover all these things. We have to have the perfect ball, the balance. We have to have the absolute perfect tack on our hand, whatever have you. The reality of it is, once you play the game, your batting glove rips, you're sweating, you're cramping. You got to figure it out, and that's the coolest part. Is he learned how to adapt. He learned who he was and learned a whole new version of who he could be just because of that training. And he was willing to look the tough stuff right in the eye. And I think that's where it all starts with those guys, being able to say, "I'm scared to death, but I'm going to keep walking forward and see what happens, and I'll adapt as I go."
Yeah, it's interesting because the game is definitely at the highest level. The game has definitely changed, right? And it's like
Yeah.
there's a part of it where it's like I want everybody to be bigger, stronger, and faster,
Mhm.
right? But like at the end of the day, we've got to be able to get a hit when we need to get a hit, and like we got to be able to make the pitch. Like when one pitch is not working, we got to move to the other one. Like when I don't feel good, how do I, punch that ground ball in the four hole to figure out? It's like there just used to be like when I was growing up watching baseball, there used to be an art of like figuring out a way to get a hit. And it's not like obviously we grew up in, I grew up in the steroid era of like there was a lot of home runs and everything too, but like just like guys were so into batting average and like getting hits, almost like addicted to getting hits. So it's like you almost lose the mental training because you're telling guys it's okay to not succeed sometimes trying to do something extraordinary instead of just getting the next guy up.
I honestly think the mental training is almost the problem. All the deep breathing, overthinking comes a lot from these mental skills coaches, and instead of going out and just going to fail and figuring it out, find the win today. And I think the reason why I say it's a lot of their problems, I had some great mental skills, mental toughness coaches, mental conditioning coaches, whatever you want to call them. But the ones that were the best said, go figure it out, period. Go win today. Go win the at bat. Go win the situation. And where does that start is the problem. They never do this to you anymore. Where are you at? Are you a good self-evaluator? Hey, you can't hit this guy. Everything on the analytics sheet and on your player card says you're not going to hit today. How are you going to win today? Well, 0 for 3 with a walk. I just won. I didn't go 0 for 4. Then the next day I'm able to hit that guy. I'm 3 for 4 with a lean at a shortstop. It's finding those little wins and saying, "Hey, maybe I should work on bunting just in case I can't hit for a week," because everybody goes through that. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. I went through half a season where I couldn't hit, and I think we've lost that competition side of baseball. We've focused so much on optimizing the human being and the movements and the velocity and the bat speed, all these things are so important. But the reality of it is, when you look at a guy's career, you're going to look at all of it together. And if you can be elite in one area, so you have elite bat speed, great. Or you have elite exit velocity, great. Now, can you have somewhere in the range of average contact? Because that's going to make you even better. And we don't look at it in that sense. We're always chasing the optimal thing. We're not all Aaron Judge. We're not all Stanton. We can't all be superhumans. We have to find the balance, find our wins. And I think the game's starting to even itself out. But if you can do that, especially at a young age, learn how to compete and really control the barrel and do some things really nicely at the plate and understand the game out in front of you, play to the situation. I think you have such an advantage going into pro ball and into college because a lot of times you're playing against a sheet of paper. It's already deemed, 3, 4, 5 innings in, two rotations of the pitcher. All these things are already planned out and the gut feels dying. And we just saw who won the World Series, right? Who was the GM? Chris Young, former player, really, really smart dude, understands both sides, new school, old school. And then Bruce Bochy, right? He goes, first thing he does, goes out and gets Bruce Bochy. And then even the guys he signed are a mixture of understanding the new age and the old age, but they're all competitors. And that's the biggest difference in the game today is we're not just going out competing, failing, learning from that failure and taking a step forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, like, Simeon, Seager, like they're guys that want to play every
Oh,
single day. You know
you
what I
wanna
mean?
jump
Like,
on a field with them right now,
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
they're
No,
just absolute grinders.
it's such a great point.